Well, hello, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo. And as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, and oh my God, subscribing to the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, man, this literally does not work. Man, let me zoom the camera up here a little bit here, y'all. And let's get open for business here on this Friday night. Hopefully I got the sound right on here. We are using our live stream studio broadcaster software, and this is really only the third time that I've used it. This thing to me is just incredible, and I am happy as can be that I finally am beginning to learn how to use it. So hopefully everybody can hear this. I did kind of turn, I tell you what, let's go to this clip real quick here, and I'm going to adjust my monitor over here so that way I can see just a little bit better.
We do. The Cowboys have fired Scott Linehan, their offensive coordinator.
John, I saw a fist pump back there.
He fist pumped?
Well, John,
I feel bad for him and all that crap, but that's good news.
Well, Linehan's a very well-traveled college and pro coordinator. He's been around forever, but the feeling is I'm always suspicious of this. If you're a 20-year coordinator and you're not getting head coaching offers, what does that tell me? I mean, Cliff Kingsbury's in the Big 12 for an hour, losing record, got an NFL job. Why isn't he even interviewing for head coaching jobs? He's been around football for 30 years. That tells you people don't see him as a dynamic play caller.
Well, they have regressed tremendously on the offensive side. They finished 22nd in total offense and scoring offense this year, and they averaged 21.2
That's
points
with
per game.
Amari Cooper.
Yes, and their final tally of 339 points this season was their second lowest.
Wow, it was?
And
wow,
the lowest was 2015 when Tony Romo missed most of the season with collarbone injury.
So with Amari Cooper, but above average O-line, Zeke, Dak was 13-3 his rookie year, so he can win games. I mean, they need a tight end, but they also have a great defensive front seven, so that gives you the ball back generally in better than average field goal position.
It's not creative.
It's just not.
Hand the ball to Zeke, which anybody can call, and it's Amari Cooper's just good at getting open.
By the way, the two people, Linehan just got fired, and Mike McCarthy couldn't get job interviews. Those are seen as competent guys who have not evolved. This goes back to something, Joey, we talk about. In any business, you've got to evolve. Now, Linehan was a coach for the Rams, but he got run out very fast. And that was over a decade ago. Has he ever been up for a job since? You would just think. I mean, he was a disaster with the Rams. It was 11-25. Yeah.
Well, his days are up in Dallas. All right, so someone else who may be leaving Dallas, or at least talked about leaving Dallas, is Sean Lee. The Cowboys lost to the Rams in the divisional round of the playoffs. Obviously, he's 32 years old. He said he's going to take some time off to figure out whether he's going to continue his pro football career. Well, Stephen Jones, the executive vice president, was on the radio Friday to say that Sean Lee will always have a home in Dallas and should continue his career.
No one we'd love to have back more than Sean Lee. I mean, what a special player he is, and being the wily veteran he is, he probably played the best in that game. He had about 24 plays. I would say he played better, probably played the position better than anybody in that particular game. We want him back. I think he's a leader on this football team.
I do think that Sean Lee is a leader. I think his body has mostly betrayed him.
Yes.
He played in 7 games this year. And at a $10 million cap hit, if they cut him, they'll only have $3 million in dead money, and it'll free up $7 million in base salary money for them. And they have Van Der Esch, and they have Jalen Smith. I do think he is an important part of the piece as far as being a veteran and being a leader, but I mean,
it's a salary cap league. He's too much of a hit.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just
not for somebody who's not available.
I mean, again, I would love to have him. I mean,
Well, hello, friends. Mark Holmes here, and thank you so much for everybody tuning in. Of course, we have to get a little bit of hater report in here, guys, because one thing I enjoy doing, one of the reasons why I even do this is because of all the talking heads out there. So many times you hear so much crap that you just get to the point where you say enough is enough. You're full of crap. Okay? All of these guys, literally, whichever the way the wind is blowing is the way they go. And I find it funny how some of them still have a job. Ian Rappaport, that guy He makes weathermen look accurate. He is always. What's up, Sandman? What's up, Miss Jackie? How you doing tonight? I see Carolina Cowboys fan. I see Scott Thomas Linehan. Am I hiring? Nobody. Sorry. We're not hiring any former Dallas Cowboys offensive coordinators. Mike Flowers, we see Bruce, we see Josh, we see Tony, we see Danny Bear, we see JR214, we see Adrian. So everybody, welcome to the show today. I know what you guys were thinking last Saturday when our season ended, that, oh my God, it's the off season, man. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? We're going to be talking about the Dallas Cowboys, because the Dallas Cowboys are always in the news. Here it is. We are 2 days away from championship weekend, where 4 teams will be vying for a chance to go to the Super Bowl. And what are we talking about? The Dallas Cowboys. You know how we roll, man. We are always on everybody's mind. All right, so Dez Bryant. Dez Bryant right now is enjoying life and saying, I told y'all so, that it wasn't just me. And let me make sure I quote it just right, because I get accused of messing things up. But Dez Bryant said, in July, y'all know what the real problem is. Garbage ass play calling. Everybody lines up in the same spot for 17 weeks. It's kind of hard to argue with that, because he's not the only one that said that. Remember Bryce Butler? He got run out of town and then brought back because he said, listen, man, it's all about Dez, and we keep doing the same things. It's not very creative. He wasn't wrong. You look at Amari Cooper, who got clipped. He admitted it against the Eagles. If it wasn't for Amari Cooper, who was a guy who just got here, didn't know jack about Scott Linehan, he could see it after a couple of games. Dude, why are we running the same thing? Why are we doing the same thing? Listen, Dad, dude, we got this. Screw that. Let's go deep. Daniel, how you doing, man? Man, I'm great right now. I'm great. So finally, the Dallas Cowboys woke up. Even though they had doubts last year, they thought about doing this last year. What if we had done this last year? Well, thank you, Corey, for being on Team Joe Boo. I appreciate that, man. What if we had done this last year instead of doing the offense the way we did? And we had, instead of like the 21st offense in the NFL, I think it was, what if we had the 15th rated offense? If we could have just gotten an extra 30 or 40 yards, or maybe done a little bit better in the red zone, you think we might be playing this weekend? Seriously. You think we might be playing this weekend had we not stuck around with this clown till now? Understand, there's no time like the present. You can't waste time. We wasted Tony Romo's career. And how do you know that we wasted it? Take a look at what happened from 2014 when we were the cream of the crop. Now, I know, you can argue the catch, no catch, and maybe we could have gone on and maybe gone to a Super Bowl. But take a look at what happened that following year. You had the exact same team, okay? Tony Romo plays in 4 games and gets hurt. We won 1 game without Tony Romo. That means that offense was totally fixed for Tony Romo, and we couldn't adjust. Stello 300 Cowboys, thank you very much. Mark Holmes lays it down the troop and a bunch of flip-flopping. Whoa, wait a minute. Don't piss people off tonight now, man. A bunch of flip-flopping sports talking heads noise. We all know it. No more lame. Yeah, thank God he's got. I mean, you know what? If you're a Cowboys fan, you got to be happy. You got to be happy that we got him. And you know what kind of irked me this morning? There was a lady that has actually a really nice looking profile. I don't know. There's so many people that have fake profiles. You don't know what's what and who's who. But the thing that kind of irked me about it is that she's always been talking about how bad our quarterback is and the offense and everything else. She went on to say that, Scott Linehan's being scapegoated. What? So you trying to say that Scott Linehan's a good coach? Wait. Was that your take? Now, I'm not trying to say anything about this individual, but I'm just wondering, how much football do you know? Seriously. You're trying to say that we're scapegoating him? The guy who calls the plays? The guy who kept calling the same 4th and 1 strategy, run Zeke up the middle, no creativity? The same guy that everybody and their sister knows is garbage at calling plays? Brian SoCal, thank you very much for the super chat. Come on, man. We have been talking about Scott Linehan's play calling forever. And going back to that year, understand, listen, we had a healthy Tyron Smith, a healthy Zach Martin, who was a lot younger. We had a Travis Frederick. We got a Jason Garrett now. Okay? We had a Jason Witten. Now, Dez was hurt part of that season and everything else. But you had not DeMarco Murray. We had Run DMC, who was 4th in the NFL in rushing. But we couldn't do anything with any other quarterback other than Tony Romo, because they cannot adapt to differences. And we're still trying to run that same offense the same way Tony Romo's here. Tony Romo was special. I know everybody thinks I hate Tony Romo, but Tony Romo covered up for a lot of problems with this offense, because Tony Romo could buy time. He would run around. He would keep his eyes downfield because he was a veteran, and he could gunsling passes. But with that also came a lot of risk-taking where we turned over the ball. So it was a risk-reward type of a deal that, sometimes Tony Romo's going to save you, sometimes Tony Romo is going to die trying. But it wasn't about the offense that Scott Linehan had here. It just sucked. It's just too predictable. And I keep saying that when I look at and thinking about the money, it's not my money, it's Jerry Jones's money, but the money that you have to spend on players, if you mess up on a big contract, it haunts you for years. When Tony Romo couldn't continue playing and we still owed that money, it hamstrung us. I'm not saying anything about Tony Romo, so Romosexuals, leave me the hell alone. Okay? I'm just saying that we were paying Tony Romo this year still, even though he hasn't played since 2015, meaningless time. So if you're going to pay Zeke, you got to make sure we can keep him around for as long as possible, because running backs, they get punch drunk overnight. And if we continue to run the offense the same way we do, where we're just using him as a battering ram constantly up the middle, game after game, 25, 30 times, his career is only going to be a few more years. We have to learn to use him strategically in space. Get him the ball so it's outside. Get him the ball down the field. So instead of being hit by guys like Ndamukong Suh and guys like that he's going against linebackers and taking basically side blows instead of head on, and not having 300-pound guys falling on him. Have him take on some cornerbacks and some safeties. Things like they used to do with Le'Veon Bell. That's what you got to start looking at. Our whole offensive philosophy is caveman style, that we're just going to man up and we're going to beat you. We're going to have better talent. But you know what? Everybody's got talent in the NFL. Do you think the Rams have far superior personnel than we do? I don't. But what they do is they keep you guessing and keep you on your toes. And that's what you need now. You need a coach who can relate with the players. And I got to tell you, I don't think any of our players out there related with Scott Linehan. I don't know. I'm not there. I'm not a fly on the wall. But I can't see those guys wanting to just hang out with Scott Linehan. Of course, they're going to respect him because they're the coach. They're the boss. They can't just say, F you. But do you think Amari Cooper really respected him in the play calling? I don't. Now, you look at Linehan, who's always upstairs. He's not on the field down there. And then when you have your man there with the clipboard, you looked at the mannerisms of Dak Prescott on the sidelines after coming back from a series. Dak isn't interacting with my man. He's just kind of looking there stone-faced. Take a look at what Sean McVay Sean McVay, the energy, the players reacting to him, the same way that Chris Richard, that the players react to him. He's down there in real time, real space, working with people. We don't have that with the Scott Linehan. So now that he's gone, now we finally recognize, now we finally woke up and Jerry Jones and gang has finally said, we need to do better. The question is, who are we going to get? Stello 300, thank you very much for the super chat. So now, the question is, who's going to be in charge? I think the Cowboys really want to make a splash. I think the Cowboys, and I think especially Stephen Jones is at the point right now where they're tired of waiting. I think Stephen Jones wants to get this Super Bowl for his father, and I believe Stephen Jones is the man now behind the Dallas Cowboys, more than ever before. I think they want to make a splash, but they may not be able to. And I believe that they're looking at some people that are playing this weekend and they've missed the window. They have to wait till after Sunday's game to talk to anybody right now. Dan Campbell is one of those guys who's with New Orleans, former tight end that used to be with the Cowboys. And you got to say, okay, you look at him being a protege underneath Sean Payton. Well, Sean Payton has done some really great work with quarterbacks. I don't know that Tony Romo would have been Tony Romo had it not been for Sean Payton, and Sean Payton wanted to take him with him to New Orleans. Drew Brees was a good quarterback. We got a Lucy now, Mike. Okay.
Blocker.
Okay.
Because she will harass you. It's the same person.
Okay.
It's a blocker.
But he worked with Drew Brees. Drew Brees, who was kind of left on the sidelines from San Diego with a hurt shoulder, and you see what he's been able to do with Drew Brees. So you think about a Dan Campbell who's worked with Sean Payton, a guy who the Cowboys wanted to sign in 2016. He's under contract with them, so he would have to get permission from them to be able to talk to him. But that's a possibility. Another possibility is we could kind of go with the Rams approach, which is where Scott McVay is actually the JD. Thank you very much for the super chat. Where Sean McVay really is the offensive coordinator, and it may be that Jason Garrett starts calling the plays. I'm not sure that that's what's going to happen on that one, but it's a possibility. The thing you also have to think about, too, is maybe that's not necessarily a bad thing. I kept saying I would have liked to have seen Linehan fired during the season and have Jason Garrett call the plays, because now it's his ass that's on the line. So you either sink or swim. But what you notice with the Giant game as well as the Eagle game, and coming down the stretch, the team began to open things up a little more, and supposedly, Stello 300 Cowboys fan, thank you very much. Yes, Sean Payton is definitely part of the Bill Parcells coaching tree. He was here under Bill Parcells. We had that guy. How the hell did we let that guy go? But anyway, Dan Campbell is underneath of Sean Payton, which is underneath Bill Parcells. So you can look at that and say, Richard Yancey, thank you very much for the super chat. You can definitely say that's part of the Bill Parcells coaching tree, because it all goes back up there. So Dan Campbell would be an interesting one. He's played as a tight end, definitely knows what he's talking about, definitely has been around a very offensive team for a long time. And watching Drew Brees and working with Drew Brees definitely could be good. Norv Turner, well, Norv Turner's under contract with Carolina, so I'm not sure Carolina's going to let him go. And I'm not sure if Norv really wants to come back. Norv Turner has done the rounds everywhere and has not sniffed anything with the Cowboys. Another possibility is our tight ends coach, Doug Nessmeyer. The Cowboys, one thing you have to look at that they seem to enjoy doing is hiring from within. When they brought in Monty Kiffin, they ended up having Rod Martinelli. Rod Martinelli becomes, boom, offensive coordinator. So then you bring in Chris Richard, who's the passing coordinator, who's going to become the defensive coordinator. They kind of like to bring people up from their own system. Jason Garrett was hired as offensive coordinator, go figure, and got hired as head coach, and we haven't been able to get rid of that guy. Yes, Mike?
So the tight end coach gets his offensive coordinator, the head coach eventually?
I don't know. That's possible, but I think if they can hold on to Chris Richard, I think Chris Richard could be a possible candidate. Now, here's the thing that, but as we go through here too, Todd Haley is another one that's a possibility. Todd Haley, who was also here with Dallas back in 2004, 2006, and was in Cleveland and part of getting Hugh Jackson out of there and stuff. That's a possibility, I think, as well as Sanjay Lal. It's conceivable that Sanjay Lal, after working with Amari Cooper and things like that, that they could promote him. I think that's a smaller chance. I think actually Dan Campbell is the guy that they really want to go after. Chris Richard is fire, and we need that intensity. I agree with you on that one. No Todd Haley. Okay. Mark Hunt, no, that's okay, DMV made. I don't want to be the next coordinator. You know, it's a lot easier being on this side over here talking about it. It's another one when you're over there taking the crap and having to actually put up and shut up. So, Todd Haley, not good. He'll fight the players. Well, you know what? I'd take Todd Haley over Scott Linehan. At least he's going to open up the offense more. Stello 300 Cowboys. Rod Marinelli is part of the Bill Walsh coaching tree. DT, I didn't say I want. I'm just saying possible candidates that they're looking at right now. And I see a lot of people who keep saying, we'll get Tony Romo. Let's calm down on the Tony Romo for offensive coordinator or quarterback coach. Here's the thing. Tony Romo would end up taking a big-ass pay cut to coach. Tony Romo's got straight-up gravy. Doesn't matter. Listen, he shows up on Sunday, does a little homework and everything else. Win, lose, or draw, he's not getting cussed out. But you know, you Cowboy fans out there, you know how you will turn on somebody in a minute. And Tony Romo is beloved now, not just by Cowboy fans, by everybody. So why settle for, say, $1 million or so a year to be an offensive coordinator or, you know, or a quarterback coach and have to listen to all that crap? He ain't coming to, you can put that out your head. It ain't going to happen. Not going to happen. Romo's not leaving. I mean, would you? Would you leave, Michael, would you leave CBS and what, $10 million a year to come coach the Cowboys?
All you got to do is sit there and just talk.
Okay, Lucy, slow your roll, okay? He don't want to call you. Okay, this ain't a dating site, all right?
This block.
Just slow your roll.
Would you just block?
Michael's like, well, she's just going to make another one. Stello 300 again with the super chat. Thank you very much. Romo for president of You Guys Crazy. Okay. We need a young coach I agree with you on having a young coach and coordinator. Because you need somebody that can relate to the players and somebody who's used to working in a newer offense, a more college-friendly type of an offense, one that's a little more wide open. Bill Callahan is another one. I thought about that one, but there was bad blood when he left. Unfortunately, the Cowboys made the wrong choice between Bill Callahan and Scott Linehan. We should have went with Callahan because Callahan had that offensive line. Oh, my God, that offensive line was literally at its peak with Bill Callahan. He wants to get the hell out of Washington, as does everybody else. Hector Vargas, thank you very much for the super chat. Scott Turner, the Panthers quarterback coach. Okay. Joe Boo equals coach. Thanks very much, but that's okay. Earl Thomas and Gerald McCoy. Interesting thing is we look at the power structure with the Cowboys. I said this last year, and people said, you're crazy. Understand, Jerry Jones is the figurehead. He's the dog whistle. He's the thing that everybody chases. He's the guy that gets you all the great quotes. You know, I want me some glory holes, you know. But Jerry Jones does not do all the stuff that he used to do. Think about it. Think about some of the things that Jerry Jones has said. You know, he wanted Johnny Manziel. But who was it who took the card away from him and said, Dad? No. Not going to happen. Last year, when Jerry was talking about Dez Bryant, you know, he's part of the family. Edwin Bush, thank you very much for the super chat. How's the weather in Minnesota? Okay, I'm getting all kinds of notifications on the screen here. Okay. Anyway, damn, would you stop? Stop. Okay, hold on. Let me turn this off. Okay. When Jerry Jones was talking about Dez Bryant, I said pay attention to to Stephen Jones, because Stephen Jones literally is the final say, I believe now. Because when he was asked about Dez Bryant, because think about it, he was asked about Terrence Williams after he hurt his leg and everything. He goes, oh, Terrence Williams, he's going to be fine and stuff. You know, he's just doing some rehab. And they said, what about Dez Bryant? Well, we haven't had any discussions about Dez Bryant. And it was just like the life went out of him and he went stone-faced. And I said, oh, that ain't good. And in the same way, thank you very much, Chaz Jewell. In the same way that Monday, Jason Garrett came out all happy. Yeah, you know, I'm proud of my guys. We competed all season. And, you know, we're going to get back to the drawing board and everything. We don't expect any major changes or anything out here with the team and the coaching structure and all that. Yeah. And who was it who came back and said, wait a minute. There's nobody that should be satisfied on this team with where we ended up. That's what Stephen Jones said. Young Wilson, thank you very much for the super chat. Nobody should be satisfied where we at, because Jason Garrett was happy. Hey, man, you know, I got my second playoff win here. Woohoo! We're good. We improved. We made it to the divisional round. Oh, man, we lost, but you know what? I always equate Jason Garrett to a Little League coach. I've said this before, but he reminds me of, you know, Johnny, you only played 3 plays and you fumbled the ball twice, but here you go, Johnny. Great job. Here's your participation trophy. JL Barrett, thank you very much for the super chat. And he's happy with that. I always say, show me some passion. Skip. Shannon Sharp, thank you very much for the super chat. Show me some passion. Show me you're upset. Are you really okay that we lost? Yeah, up there with that shit-eating grin. You know, I'm proud of it. No! Damn it. We had a good season. We tried hard, but damn it, we got to do better. We got to, as coaches, put the players in a better position to win. We got to make sure the trainers keep the players on the field. We have got to call a better plays, and our players got to execute. And we're going to get back to the drawing board and get to that right now, because this is not where we want to be. Yes, we're happy we made it to the playoffs, but we've got bigger fish to fry, and I am going to do everything in my power to get us there. And if that means we got to let people go, if that means we need to let players out of here, if that means we need to spend some money, whatever it takes, we will not rest until we get to the Super Bowl. Can I get something like that? Can I get some fire or passion? Can you show me that you even care? That's all I'm asking. And I think Stephen Jones just woke up and said, wait a minute. Stella 300, Cowboys, thank you very much for the super chat. You must have robbed the bank today. I think Stephen Jones said, wait a minute. You're happy that we lost? You're happy we're out? You're content with this? Maybe you aren't the guy we thought you were to lead this team. You think that being 21st in offense is satisfactory? And you think that these guys deserve to come back? We're about winning Super Bowls. We got plenty of money. Only thing we ain't got right now is some more rings. And either you're part of the solution or you're part of the problem. And right now, Jason, you might be part of the problem. if you think that this was good enough. So you saw him back down. And they made him be the one to be the executioner of Scott Linehan, to let him go. Now, the thing I find amazing is this. We're supposed to believe that Jason Garrett came out and said, we're good, no changes. And then 2 days later had a meeting with Linehan and decided, oh no, we're going to let you go. What transpired in those 2 days for you to go ahead and change and do a 180? That's what I want to know. What made you change your mind from Monday to Wednesday? I can't believe that you just woke up on your own and said, oh, I'm going to go ahead and let this guy go. No, I think that you ended up having a little conversation with the team. And it's kind of interesting that we've heard Ian Rappaport say that they're going to be doing a long-term deal. Have you heard Stephen Jones or Jerry say that? I think I heard Jerry say something that if we let him go, he'd probably get about 5 or so offers. Do you honestly believe that he is 100% safe right now? I don't know that he is. And here's where the pieces get to be interesting. I didn't come up with this one. Don't shoot me. But the interesting one still is Sean Payton. And that's where some people have been rumored that if they don't make it to the Super Bowl, that Sean Payton may go ahead and decide he wants to get out of there. I think he's got 1 year left on his deal. But he does have a home in Dallas. He does, of course, have ties to the Cowboys, having coached there. He knows what he's getting with the Dallas Cowboys. And here's where it's interesting, because just 2 years ago, they were talking about throwing him under the bus and getting rid of him. After 3 years of 7-9, they had begun to get tired of him. There was a whole Bounty Gate situation and all that happened, and it had gotten really ugly, and they couldn't get past 7-9. So they were looking at saying, you know what, maybe you behind needs to go. But then they won last year, and then they won this year. You got Drew Brees at 40, who's still playing great because he's got a running game. But how much longer do you think he's honestly going to be able to play great? At some point, he's going to get too old, and you're going to have to find another quarterback. Robert Apakian, thank you very much for the super chat. So now you're talking about a team getting old and having to find a quarterback. So if you are Sean Payton, I'm sorry, I'm looking for my cursor. I've got 3 screens with one cursor that goes on and it gets lost in here. If you are Sean Payton and you know that Drew Brees has only got a couple more years left, and you right now are at the pinnacle of probably where you're going to be, there's no time like the present to try and figure out where you want to go. You don't want to hold on to the point where you get fired and then you end up getting picked up by some other team that's, starting all over. If you're Sean Payton, you want to go someplace where a team is young, got a running back, got a defense, that's got a structure that'll go ahead and provide you with the talent, and that you can easily win with. Anybody know any place? Oh, sorry about that. So many super chats, I just forgot to take it off. Anybody know a place that's kind of like that? That you actually own a home in the city? Sorry, I forgot and left the super chat mic on. Sorry. Here. Thomas Garrett, thank you very much for the super chat. Sorry, I make mistakes here, so forgive me. So that's one of those possibilities. Peyton is a bum. Well, I got to tell you, I'll take what he did with quarterbacks over anything we've got working on quarterbacks. He smiles a lot, but he's very cutthroat. But you know what? He'll take some chance. He will go for the jugular, okay? You saw him fake that punt, right? You saw him onside kick in the Super Bowl, right? When was the last time we really took a big risk? I think we did do one fake punt this year, but not very often. We are predictable. Sean Payton ain't predictable. But just thinking in my mind that, like I said, forgive me, I've got stuffy nose. I'm delusional? Maybe. Burning beard. But you know what? I've been told that before, and I've been right. Seriously. It's crazy. I know that idea is crazy. But you never know. Just putting it out there. Stranger things happen. Did you guys honestly think that Bill Parcells would have come here and coached? Did anybody think that that could have ever happened? But it did, though, didn't it? But Santana, he's been here before. He knows what to expect from Jerry. You want Mike McCarthy? He's planning on sitting out a year. I'm not sure I want Mike McCarthy. I'm not sure about Mike McCarthy. I mean, it's an interesting thought, but I'm not sure about that one. Our players love Garrett. He's not leaving. You know what? There's a lot of coaches that players love, but don't necessarily hang around. It's not about who the players love. It's about who can get the most out of the players. Understand that Jason Garrett is the longest tenured coach right now in the NFL that has not won a Super Bowl. Everybody else who's been in the NFL since he was hired has a ring, and some of them have multiple ones. So let that sink in for a second. DT, thank you very much for the super chat. In fact, here's a statistic that really will kind of depress you. Coaches who have been with the same team for 5 or more years have never won the Super Bowl in the modern era. I'm not talking about, Tom Landry and stuff like that. I'm talking about, since basically I think the mid-'80s. If you don't win it within the first 5 years, chances are you're not going to. Kellen Moore is actually, they are saying, is going to be coming back. Go figure on that one. No Todd Haley or Mike McCarthy. They are no better than Linehan. I think I have to agree with you on that, James. Bring Parcells back. I think Parcells is getting a little senile now. Parcells was not the play caller. Parcells was basically the guy who got the team together. That's where Sean Payton was the play caller for him when he was here. Go after Lincoln Riley for offensive coordinator. Okay. Yeah, here's the thing. Mike McCarthy won a Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers and still had Aaron Rodgers. And what did he do with that? After that. We need a real coach that yells and screams and put the fear in players rather than clapping every. Well, you've got that on defense. I have to agree with you. Have I seen a Cooper's iced out necklace charm? No, I haven't seen that one. I know he got a jersey, $65,000 diamond encrusted jersey, Cowboy jersey. So I think he's singing he's about to get paid. How do I think Josh McDaniels will do with our offense? I think he would do pretty good, but I don't know that he would come here. Stello 300. Peyton and Greg Williams did get suspended by the NFL 1 year bounty gate. Yeah, they did. Greg Williams got suspended. Peyton didn't get suspended. I think he got fined.
Yeah, he did.
It wasn't for a whole year.
No, it was for that season.
Was it? Was it for the whole season?
Yeah, it was.
Well,
He got suspended after the bounty gate for 1 season.
I don't remember being the whole season
Yeah,
though.
it was the whole season.
I'm getting old and forgetful, so that may be. I got to go back and look that up because I'm
Peyton
getting.
got suspended for the whole season that year. You did get for 1 year, got suspended for the whole year.
Well, Cleveland Brown, it worked a whole lot better. And I agree. They got outcoached on that game. And that's where, here's the thing that I always say.
About that 4th down play.
Well, the 4th down play, you're right. This dude is a clown. Well, thank you very much, Emmett. And apparently you must like clowns. You're here. I, for one, always like the big beast defensive tackles, the big immovable forces, the guys that are about 350 plus in the middle. The Cowboys have a philosophy of tall, lean defensive linemen. They don't believe in having really big, fat guys. Randall Wright, thank you very much for the super chat. And with that, what they do, you see a lot of sacks from our team, at least this past year. Most of those sacks weren't because of one-on-one matchups that we beat. They were done because of schemes, because we were doing stunts and twists and things like that, where you're basically getting like the defensive tackle going to the outside, basically pulling his tackle with, pulling the guard with him, and then you see a twist with DeMarcus Lawrence coming inside. And what you're doing is you're creating mismatches, which are great. But sometimes in the trenches, when you're in the wars like we were, you need a big, fat guy that's in the middle that can't be moved, that you've got to have two guys trying to push him out. Now, Antoine Woods has played fantastic this year, but he tore his labrum early in the game and played with the tour. So he wasn't able to really do what he had been doing. But that's where you got to start looking at saying, you know what? I need a really big, fat, juicy tackle in the middle that's just spitting out blood and just ready to kill somebody. And that's where we lost in there. It was just one of those things. I guess it was for a full year. Like I said, I get hit in the head. I just get hit in the head a lot, so I forget things. Yeah, Sam, man, that was unbelievable with Aaron Donald with the 20 sacks. That was a guy that when he was coming out, I was praying that we could get him, but unfortunately got drafted before we had a chance to. Let's look at, wait a minute. And that's it. A great riff share. I agree with you. And it is. We have finesse. We have guys that are all about 270, 280, that are like 6'4", 6'6", 6'8", that are defensive linemen that are fast. You've got a whole lot of speed, and they can really get up the field and things in pass protection. But the problem is when you start having to run and take up those run blocks over and over again, and you get big offensive linemen that are pushing on you, you're getting blown out of the hole. And that's what happened to us in that game. But there's not a whole lot of teams that can go ahead and do that to you and man up like they did. The keto is working really good, James, and now that the season's over, I'll probably be doing more keto diets. I've lost about 23 pounds on it. I've been cheating a little bit, so it's been kind of plateaued out, but it's actually done really good. Drew, I might differ with you a little bit on that one. I think that Jerry Jones has given a little bit more latitude in the last few years than he used to. It used to be that Jerry Jones was literally on the sidelines there, during the games and things. I know Jerry Jones has two suites. He has his main suite that seats about 150 people where all his guests and stuff come in. And then there's the elevator in the back that goes upstairs to his GM suite where he has the phone to call down on the field.
I think it's him and his two.
Him and his son. It's a smaller suite. Nice and intimate, but it's got the hot phone that goes down to the line. But I don't know that he uses that suite as much as he used to, because every time I see him on the Jumbotron, him during the games, he's down in the main suite. And I think that they've actually given Jason Garrett a little bit more latitude on coaching. I think he's eased up a little bit. The dog is actually doing, the other dog, he's not down here. He's actually doing well. He had back surgery, and he's healed up real good, hopefully. You're okay. Fact checking. Appreciate it, Stello. I was wrong. He was suspended for the whole season. I was thinking it was only a few games, but you're right. It was the whole season. Had back surgery. He's doing good right now. Hopefully he doesn't have any more disc issues. He's got to go. Oh, Vosh, president of the 80 percenters. That was a question I say. Yeah, I think of so much stuff and then I lose it in translation. I was sitting here thinking, when Jared Goff ran, had we stopped him there, we would have gotten the ball back with an opportunity, right? If we had had Earl Thomas instead of Jeff Heath back there, just hypothetically, I know Earl Thomas got hurt during the season. Okay, I get that. But hypothetically, if we had had Earl Thomas there at safety than Jeff Heath, and don't get me wrong, Jeff Heath has had really some good games and has gotten a lot of interceptions and stuff. But on that play, if we had had Earl Thomas there, and let's say Cowboy 432 WTX, thank you very much for the super chat. And instead of having Sean Lee out there, if we had had the Wolf, would Jared Goff have gotten that first down? That's where you have to start looking at it, because I believe that he could have been worth a game or two. And I think he could have been worth that game. They want Dan Campbell. That's what that they're leaning towards Dan Campbell, in which case they won't be able to talk to him until after Sunday. And if they go to the Super Bowl, it may be that they don't get to talk to them until after the Super Bowl. Earl Thomas is a power bottom.
You got 3 interceptions.
Well, but the only worry about Earl Thomas is he's been injured a lot lately. So the question is durability. The other thing is how much it's going to cost. How confident am I that Travis Frederick will be back? Jeff Dabo, thank you very much for the super chat. We saw, what week was that with the Eagles game? We were down there. We saw him at an autograph signing.
It was after the Saints game.
Yeah, it was after the Saints. It was the second Eagles game. He looked good. I'll be honest with you, because he looked good. He looked happy, and he was like, "Man, I'm gonna be back." How much do carpenters make? Not enough. Right. Depends on how good and what kind of work you do. They're saying he's going to be able to start doing OTA workouts. And the thing that I was actually impressed was, I've met him actually a couple times. I met him in Arizona at the Pro Bowl.
I think you met him here too once, because he was at the sign autograph.
Yeah, but I'm talking about when he was definitely strong. And he did not look like he had lost a lot of his body mass, which with that syndrome, that's one of the things that happens, is you can end up dropping a whole lot of weight. You got the nerve damage and everything else where you don't have the feeling and stuff and movement. But looking at him, he didn't look like he had lost a whole bunch of weight and muscle structure. So Mark Shareth, who used to play at the Washington Redskins, who had, good Lord, I think 20-some plus knee operations and things, had the same syndrome, and he missed about a year and came back and ended up winning 2 Super Bowls with Denver. So it's not inconceivable that he comes back at full strength. The amazing thing about it was, once he was diagnosed with it, he never went to the hospital. They immediately started doing treatment on him, and they immediately started getting him together. And that's one of those things that sometimes you end up in the hospital, and it ends up being a lot worse. So I don't think that he had it as bad as it may have seemed, but it still takes time to get over it. And Cole Beasley, shout out to him, having another baby. I don't think $150 an hour. I know you're not talking about carpenters.
Unless you're doing government work.
You ain't making $150 an hour even at government work and scale work. Are you kidding me? Scale work as a master carpenter is about $34 plus the fringe. Get rid of his ass. $15 to $30. That's about right. Swaggy D. Yeah, about $15 to $30 an hour unless you're doing government work. But nobody's doing government work right now because the shit's shut down. Chaz Yule, Jerry, and Steven wouldn't give Jason Garrett the okay to fire our offense coordinator if they weren't planning on keeping Jason Garrett. I don't know about that, Cam. You know what? I think that they'd like to make him the bearer of bad news, and kind of like, let me think of a good analogy for it. But think about if you're joining a gang and they take you out and they make you have to shoot somebody to prove that you are really with us. That's what they just did with Jason Garrett. Okay, Jason, go kill him. Why don't I join the Carpenters Union? Because I work for myself. And I'm at the point where I don't want to work for somebody else. We can talk about that on my other channel when I start doing that stuff. But I'm self-employed, and I'm actually working on getting back to just building houses again, affordable houses for people, hopefully this year, and getting back to my red brick house. And I enjoy picking the jobs that I want to do and work on them. But I have a hard time taking orders from people. I'm sorry, other than my wife. It's just difficult to. I like to work when I want to work, and like to do what I like to do. Landon Collins is a free agent. No. Jason Garrett has to go. Not just strong enough to be a head coach. Yeah, I would like that, but I don't think that's going to happen. You're excited about Linehan gone, but worried there might be some problems with. Okay. Of course, you knew what you were going to get with Scott Linehan. You don't know what we're going to get in return. But we were only, did you say unemployed? Okay. Lost that one. You don't know what you're going to get for the next offensive coordinator. However, I don't think it could be much worse than what we had. Chaz, a union bricklayer. Nice. You like Trayvon Austin. Well, that's one of those guys that really didn't get a chance to really, because of the injuries and stuff. He's kind of a tweener type of guy.
He was different.
I'm just not a big Landon Collins attitude type guy. The thing I do like about this team is they're close-knit. They're like family. And I think that chemistry and that bond is one of those things that really help a team to succeed. We've had so many guys that have been great players, but they don't necessarily work well as a team. I can see, this is the kind of thing I could see. I can see Dak Prescott saying, you know what, I don't want to go ahead and get a max deal. I want you to get a deal done where I get paid and live comfortable for the rest of my life along with my great-great-grandkids. But I also want to make sure that we can have players on this team because it's about winning. I could see that with the DeMarcus Lawrence as well. I want to get paid, but I also want to win too. And that's one of those things that most football players don't think about. Most football players are like, look, I don't give a damn what the team does. It's all about me and how much money I can make. You're worried that we won't have a complete system that can be a problem, Well, yeah, it's going to be some growing pains possibly when we hopefully change up our system. But it may also, too, you may end up still having Jason Garrett Jason Garrett's philosophy is still almost like Air Coryell, where you're actually looking down the field and you're checking closer back in. And you may end up saying, but the problem is Scott Linehan just kind of pulled in the reins with Dak. And for whatever reason, they didn't open up the playbook as much as they did with Tony Romo. Maybe they've had a fear that Dak wasn't ready for it, maybe because Dak was still a younger guy, that they weren't there on it. But it just was not really there. The thing that I loved about Dak, and I know you guys are going to say, what didn't you love about Dak? No, what I loved about Dak was his command of the team when they were in the 2-minute drill, when they're going no huddle. If it was a matter of Dak can't do this or Dak can't do that, it would show up and not be able to do a 2-minute drill. But you see, more times than not, when we were, down to the wire, we got to get a score, and it's Dak Prescott calling the plays. Boom, 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 boom. But when you hear Amari Cooper say, dude, why are we doing the same stop route every time we have run it? The other 6 times they have squatted on it. Can a brother get a go route in here? That's where you have to start saying, maybe we need to do something a little more than what we're doing. And I still go back to, and I don't know if this was Scott Linehan's call, I don't know if this is Jerry Jones's call, or I don't know if this was Jason Garrett's. But I still think they screwed the pooch by not playing anybody in preseason. We started out the season where everybody was like, what's this guy's name over here again? Allen. Yeah. Oh, Allen. Okay. All right. Allen, we're going to go to you, Allen. They didn't know anybody. They didn't play anything at full speed. And in practice now, you don't actually hit. You don't go full speed. You don't do jack. So finally, the first 3 regular season games, all of that was basically preseason, and we sucked. It was learning to get to know everybody. And that's where they screw up. Oh, Michael Gallup. Well, see, and that's where we're actually getting close to the end of the show. But that's where you have to be, if it's a Cowboy fan, to feel hopeful. Michael Gallup was a rookie. Rookie wide receivers don't do much. It takes a couple years for them to develop. But the way Michael Gallup started coming on towards the end of the season and becoming a deep threat, the great thing right now, if you're a Dallas Cowboy fan, is the fact that, for the most part, we are pretty healthy going into the offseason. We've got Dak, not with a broken back, not with a messed up collarbone or anything. Dak can throw today. Okay? Dak can get out there now this offseason and start working with these guys. Now, I know Alan Hearns had his leg decapitated. He'll be back hopefully come August. But Michael Gallup, Amari Cooper, think how Amari Cooper played without having an offseason with the Cowboys. Coming in cold after being out there with the stank with the Raiders. He came in and did all of that. What do you think is going to happen when he gets to go out here and work with Dak over the summer through OTAs and training camp? Michael Gallup having now a season behind him. Cole Beasley, if he's back. Scott Turner, Dan Campbell, Kellen Moore. Cam Billings. Kellen Moore for offensive coordinator. Come on, man. Come on, man. You had me going there with Doug Nessmeyer. Okay, I got that. James Cooley, I got that. Scott Turner, okay. Dan Campbell. But Kellen Moore, come on, man. Cam, come on.
You barely teach Dak Prescott how to play his position.
That's where we got to draw the line, man. Okay? But those guys in the next couple of weeks are going to probably start working out together. They're going to go out on their own before the league year starts, start throwing around, start running routes and stuff. And if these guys can get together, because now they all know each other's name, and start getting this stuff together, you got to realize that these guys right now are probably happy as shit. You know that these guys did not like Scott Linehan, but they couldn't say, we hate this guy. We hate this offense. Right now, they're probably excited as can be. They are like, man, let's bring the season on right now. So the Cowboys need to get somebody who's going to take that enthusiasm and continue it on. Because I'm convinced that we have enough talent to get there. It's just a matter of getting somebody. It's just like cooking. You can have all the ingredients to make a hell of a meal, but if you don't know how to put the salt, or how much pepper to put onto it, how long to cook it, at what temperature to get the most flavor out of that meal, it's going to taste like garbage. It's going to get burnt. Nobody's going to want to eat it. So we need to find the right chef for this offense, and the way we found the right chef for the defense, and a Chris Richard. So I'm hopeful right now. I'm excited. And at this point, there's nothing that the Dallas Cowboys would do that would surprise me, including letting Jason Garrett go. So, guys, it is the off-season where the real work begins with the Dallas Cowboys. I appreciate everybody being here, part of the show, supporting the channel and things. I'm going to be getting to work because the This past year was fantastic. I want to make this year even bigger. We're looking at partnering with Cowboys Experience, where we're going to be having some game trips. We're going to be doing all kinds of stuff and taking this thing on another level. And it's because of your guys' support that we're able to do this. So keep subscribing, keep commenting, and keep spreading the mojo. And as always, thank you for being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. I cannot do it without you guys. And I will see you Monday night. Let's see what else happens between now and then. Maybe we have a new offensive coordinator. If not, maybe somebody else gets fired.